Hello, this is Sam Simon, also known as Dementia Man, for my blog for the week of July 6th. We've just celebrated our independence, and boy, am I fortunate to have guests for this week's blog, Dangle and Dot. What? So I've wanted to introduce everybody to and make help you understand the array of things out there in this world. I know that a lot of people who see my blog are on the West Coast. Dangle and Dot are in Las Vegas, Nevada, and I'm working out, or we're working together to get me out there so we can gamble some. No, I'm sorry, not that. To do some good things. I found Kat Hartley and Nancy Nelson. They'll introduce themselves a little bit. Um, but when Susan and I, uh, not long after my diagnosis, were looking for a support group, a place we could go and find like-minded people and a safe space. And I had just been diagnosed. We were sort of struggling with what does this all mean? We looked and looked and looked we live in the Northern Virginia, the Washington, D.C. area, and couldn't find anything. And I don't remember exactly who pointed us to Dangle and Dot out there in Las Vegas, but they were having a dementia dialogue support group. Is there a name? Do we call it anything?
Yes, Dementia Conversations.
Dementia Conversation. And we tried it out, and boom, this is what we wanted. They weren't selling anything. They weren't trying to convince us of anything. They were just finding a place for conversation for people with cognitive disabilities or dementia, and their caregivers. And so we've been doing it for a couple, maybe almost 3 years now. I don't remember how long. So, and they still are our place we go to as religiously as we can, because when you have a group of people, there's no pecking order. There's just sharing. We create new friends. I've met one of the participants lives in Florida now, and when I was at the Straz, came to see the show. So we met one of them in person, and can't tell you how valuable it is to have a cohort of people who going through or have gone through the same sort of disease or phenomena, but from an entirely different perspective. There's this phrase: if you met one person with dementia, you met one person. And so anyway, let them introduce a little bit, because they have branded themselves and they have uh, their program, and they have a new book that they're going to talk about, a booklet. We'll see how they describe it. And so I'm really excited to, first of all, thank you for making time, Dangle and Dot, Nancy and Kat. And I'm going to just hand it over to you. Did I do that right? Can you see my hands? There you go. And talk a little bit about what Dangle and Dot is, and then about yourselves and how you got to be in this um, group. And I look and listen, and I don't know which one of you. I don't know. It sounds like I'm about to insult one of you, but not. Who is it with a cognitive issue? All right, Dangle and Dot, go.
Would be the Dangle. That yes. Aww. Well, thank you so much for asking us to come. We are pleased to be here with you, Sam. My name is Dangle, Nancy Nelson, and I was diagnosed in 2013 with early onset, re-diagnosed in 2017 with mild cognitive impairment, and stay in that space today. Kat?
Yes, and I am the Dot of Dangle and Dot, and Kat Hartley is my real name, but I represent the family care partner, I like to call it. I've lost 7 family members to all forms of dementia, starting at the age of 6, losing 2 generations on one side of my father's family. And I come with some professional background as well in this space, working at the FDA, working at Cleveland Clinic, all about brain health. But we collided in our advocacy work. We're friends. People think we're related.
Yeah, I think you're mother and
sometimes.
daughter.
Ah,
Oh, who's who? Never mind. So,
yes.
so I think you guys live near each other.
We live a few miles, but we never knew each other until the world of Alzheimer's brought us together.
See, all things cognitively not quite right doesn't always bring just
Tragedy.
tragedy or fear. It brings you some wonderful things. I've met
Right.
we've met wonderful people. We met you through dementia. So we're looking at the happier side, if you will.
Yes, since we're in Las Vegas terms, we call ourselves the dessert end of the dementia buffet.
That's
Too
a
Well,
much.
and I want to reinforce that, by the way, because I hope as we go through this discussion, yeah, I think it's our mutual vision or message that there is it is not a tragedy narrative. We need to make the best of whatever happens in our lives. I think that's a general proposition Susan and I, try to live. And that in particular, the tragedy narrative of Alzheimer's is one example, but of any sort of cognitive disease or incurable disease, but particularly around, so I hate the word dementia. Yeah. And so I'm finding myself hesitating badly whenever I come up to the word. We're going to call it cognitive impairment later in one day, but all right, I'm dementia man. And you get, a terminal diagnosis and, you have that moment, oh God, what now? And early, I mean, Nancy was saying, your earlier stage, when I got diagnosed, the doctor with the specifics of, I was MCI in 2018, in 2022, it was Alzheimer's, but he said it could be 5 to 10 years before it gets a lot worse. And there's a lot to be done in at least 5 to 10 years or longer. And we can live wonderful lives. So you guys are another example of that. So thank you again for that. So did you meet through the Cleveland Clinic or through?
Sort of.
The universe kind of kept putting us together.
We'd bump into one another.
We were always advocating. She was speaking, and then I would be speaking.
And our names would be on one on top of the other.
And just randomly. And then one day, yes, at the Cleveland Clinic, there, Nancy and her brilliancy and her let's do something about this motive came with 2 different earrings on because she kept misplacing the other ones.
The dangle and the dot.
And so we got to do something with this earring message. And so the dangle represents
Someone that has cognitive changes.
the little tangles.
Yes.
And
Yes.
then the dot is the caregiver, care partner. I got you. I'm solid as rock.
Yeah, no, that it is great that, you find each other and, I hear your message that you find the ability to work together too. And so tell all of us a little bit about there was a process to finding your mission, so to speak, and I don't want to think almost campaign, but you're available to book, you're available to bring out there, and you have a program that demonstrates. I'm going to steal somebody else's term, Mary Fridley, the Eastside Institute, but the joy of dementia. And it sounds counterintuitive, but it's about finding purpose in life. You know, Susan and I sometimes actually have to talk about it. You know, we do that mainly on big holidays like New Year's Eve. It was, well, you know, you could sit there, or a birthday or an anniversary. And by the way, I'm turning 80 July 18th. Oh, did I say that? You want my address? No. Uh, did you have to? We find that we need to make sure we're mentally in the right place. And we will talk about it and say, it's like, it's not, oh my God, what will this year bring? Will you get worse? It's, what can we get done this year? And how do we live the best year possible? So talk more about your attitudes and what is, and then what it is you're presenting and the messages you're getting out there. And then, you know, talk a little bit about, in fact, we could even jump to it, the book.
Yeah.
That is what sort of triggered. I said, "Oh my God, they had a booklet," and they said that I'm in it. So talk about you decide how you want to go. You decide how you want to go.
I'm going to just say our motto has been dare to do. And let's figure out those verbs. Dare.
Dare.
You're going to have to dare yourself a little bit. And
Yes.
to do means take action, like you have, Sam, and you and Susan.
Answer differently. Yes, it's a meaning that says, yes, we have this diagnosis. Now what can we do to help ourselves? Not just to sit back and hope somebody's going to hand us a pill or two. It is to how can we help ourselves?
Yes. And we really work and emphasize and talk about a care pair. How can we both together learn a new dance,
And
right?
speak to one another as you and Susan are doing, to understand, for me to understand her and her to understand me. Because an early diagnosis, plays into this, because the earlier it is, the better the two of us will be and the more prepared we will be.
So we do love presenting to audiences this fresh, you know, not gloss of dementia, but our real lived experience. I've been care partnering for a mom and a special brother for years now at my home. You know, I fill all the caregiver statistics, left my job, a formal job, to stay home and take care of them. So how to figure all that out. And then Nancy, where you always say you're walking in the weeds.
Yes.
And what that brings, right?
Yes.
But we've created a business, and now we're turning into business partners, which is the same kind of dance. And for me, how can we show the empowerment
that life continues on?
And maybe you're going to create something new, like you did, Sam, and
we've done.
Yeah, and you do. And I want to clarify, and I think either way the answer is correct and it's fine. You say turn it into a business, but it's a nonprofit or a for-profit.
no, I would say we are a social enterprise. We are the first, as I know, someone with a diagnosis owning a business. So we actually want to empower people to show it may be possible to still work, to still have your own creation.
We're still thinking. It may not be in the same way, huh, Sam?
No, it's all fine, and I'm not passing judgment on anything. I do my work under a limited liability corporation, the Actual Dance LLC, but I do that for liability protection. And I think it's fine to talk about this stuff. I have qualified. There's an organization in New York called Fractured Atlas. They are fiscal sponsors, and they help small folks like us do our art and stuff. And I've been doing this this is my second iteration. I had another play and before this called The Actual Dance. And so they're nonprofit and people can donate to my work. They can also just send me a check. And we're for the first time we're working with some organizations, companies that do things in this field, and we curate them and we raise some money because to do this work requires money and
Yeah.
resources and the purpose. So I didn't want to imply anything different. I think it's important to know.
I just working in the field for so long, though, I kept seeing organizations, you know, having Nancy donate hours and hours and hours of time, right, for free, where she could be doing something else. And so and nothing that's wrong with that, but after a while, you know, she's working.
Oh,
She's
I love social enterprise, by the way. That was that.
is to give back to all these
We
organizations.
want to share what we've learned firsthand.
And by the way, not profit at this point.
Yeah. Let's
We just did the taxes. We're still digging out of the.
No, I'm with you. It's not that we're nonprofit. It's just that we're trying to stop losing money, right?
We're just trying to plug the holes of how can we do this a little more efficiently?
It's almost still a hobby. I don't know.
Expensive hobby,
Well, let's talk about the important work you're doing, though. And because there is still, I think this is a point of agreement, the challenge that people typically hear the word dementia and Alzheimer's and go to end stage.
Exactly.
And there's a picture of, you know, in a memory unit of somebody just staring up into the sky. And I said, I think earlier that when I was diagnosed, it said 5 to 10 years before. There's a lot of us out there. And it is a complicated structure. And we need stories like you have. And first of all, I've learned from you. So I want to be clear about that. You guys were there before we were. And
in a reciprocal way, Sam, you know, we've learned from you and Susan.
Yes.
And actually if you're in our book, because it's so inspirational, your approach together, like you say, being able to talk about it. What do we want to achieve in this?
And what can we achieve? We don't know it because, well, what are we told in the very beginning? You can't. It's not going to be here, kind of thing, right?
well, sometimes you're not told anything because, you know, that's a whole other thing. I want to fix the neurology world one day, but that's next. No.
Wow. Yeah, challenge number 3.
Well, so Dangle Dot is a social enterprise now. You guys are working to get your messages out, and you'll talk about it. And when we getting ready for this thing, they said their book was like #1 on Amazon in Alzheimer's. Well, no, that actually is good. It's very good. So tell us a little bit about Dangle Dot. You know, you come and you're the kind of things you're doing, and then a little bit about the book and how people can get it.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. So our first media, if you will, is social media. We have been online since 2018, 19, making videos, chit-chatting, and our style of sort of back and forth, having fun, doing challenges. A long time.
Yeah.
We're on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, and we
Under the brand Dangle and Dot, right?
yes,
Yes.
it's under, and we can give you that for the show notes, all the ways you can find us. It is a fun, creative way to
look at it, and it's a different perception. We're not looking at the end result. We're looking at what can we do each day right? Because if we give up everything that we know and say, oh my gosh, this might happen out here, and we just give everything up, that's not the message we want. We want you get a diagnosis or you think something's wrong, get an early diagnosis. Let's turn the fear off, turn around, look at it, and let's decide what we can do, because we can do lots of things.
Yes. And
Oh, I'm
on our,
not,
yeah, sorry, Nancy has shared a lot of her poetry that you wrote. Blue River Apples, 3 books of poetry.
Trilogy of the three.
Yes.
well, I love poetry, you know that too. I don't have books on poetry yet, but I love your poetry and I love poetry. I didn't, you know, I don't know if you feel this way. I'm one of the most unlikely poets in the world. Never imagined, you know, I'm an old Ralph Nader lawyer kind of guy. No, but your poetry is great, Nancy, and again, it isn't, I suspect, many people's first thought if they're involved in a diagnosis.
Well, you know, and quickly, I started writing it because all of a sudden, after my first diagnosis, I started waking up 3 to 5 a.m. each morning, and those words were just coming to me, and I'd write and write and write. Even today, my poems. Sometimes I look at poems back that I started in 2018. I look at them and who wrote this? Right? I mean, I don't remember the poems, but the words have come to me. I place them and we go from there. So I have many benefits from the fact of being diagnosed. And I think that we should look at it not as a tragedy, but as a gift of some sort.
And I would say, like, on the care partnering side of things, I've learned a lot from, you know, stepping back from the working world and really being home with 2 loved ones with 2 different cognitive abilities and needs and relationships to me. And so I've been trying to share that wisdom in our social media also. And then I like to show also, it's one of my joys to show how we can have a lot of spontaneous fun in this space.
And we do.
And so she's
what
really,
she has me doing. Oh, wow.
you should check up the series of Get Up Off the Floor, because getting off the floor is like supposedly a marker of longevity, like being able to get up off the floor unassisted. So there's a series on that.
There is a series.
She did it.
Not all, really? I mean, is it a video series? Who put it out?
Yeah. We have
I missed that.
Yes, we have a series of Nancy's challenge of Get Up Off the Floor challenge.
Oh, I thought you said it came from someplace, or that this getting up off the floor is something more.
You know, when you get pregnant and then everybody you look at out there is pregnant, it's the same way. We started seeing when I tried to get up off the floor and was having difficulty to do it without hands, let me say. That makes a difference, doesn't it? So all of a sudden now they're coming to us, all these people that are just getting up off the floor with no hands.
Yeah.
So
I don't have the exact reference, but in the health longevity super ager world, that is a marker. Your ability to get up off the floor.
Yeah, there were. Wife was reading something, and I think it may have been in the newspaper, that in the health section of a newspaper was about that. That's why I sort of responded to it. And it was about practicing getting up the floor. I think your hands needed to be crossed, or from a seated place and up without falling, and practicing that. Yeah.
And then once you get up, you got to get back down. I'm, falling all over the floor. I was just with people, 2 ladies at lunch. One was 66 and one was 84. And we were talking, isn't it funny? We're talking now. We were talking about being able to get off the floor. Neither one of those ladies could.
Or guys, by the way. I know I'm struggling with my balance right now, and it's like something almost new because I notice I haven't fallen, but I've noticed I'm stumbling, and I don't know why. And so I'm aware of it, and you just begin to worry about those things. So what is the new book? What is it called?
It's called Dare to Do Something. Dare to do dementia differently.
Yes, and together choosing hope, growth, and joy. It's available as an ebook on Amazon, and it's also available on our website, dangle.com, along with Nancy's poetry is also there. And we just keep taking screenshots that it's #1 on Amazon new releases in Alzheimer's disease.
We'll take it because it
So,
moves quickly.
When you produce something, Sam, I'm sure like your play, in this space especially, I think it was really like a completion, like bringing something to the world is like, feels like a birth. You
Yeah.
birth your
Yeah, no, it is. Listen, I'm working on the book version of Dementia Man, and anyway, the pain of getting into the point of getting out there, and but then it's great, and the poetry too. You guys, I'm a little aware of our time only because I know people don't listen for a long time, so I want to not be too long and keep listening. The best is yet to come. I'm just teasing here. Um, well, the best is if you can. So you have your own YouTube channel, you have a website, and you can be followed. And um, I'm encouraging everybody to do that. And you can come live. You are in Las Vegas, so the West Coast is a bit closer. I assume if you're invited, you'll come to the East Coast. You can do that too. Maybe we'll have to meet in the middle. I don't know, and do something together, the three of us. How about that? So we'll post this, of course. We'll have um, all the email and links associated with it as well. And then I think you can link to it too on your stuff too. But I just want to acknowledge again how important this work is. I'll take my share of the credit too of creating. It's not intuitive, that you do it that way. It is possible. It is that it's like any, well, I don't do, with the narrative around these diseases, that the cognitive diseases is so historically bad. I'll take a little brag. I don't, Lynn Castile, the Reverend Lynn Castile Hopper talk about impact. She had an op-ed in the New York Times last week. It was the entire bottom half of the main opinion page. I am impressed with Lynn. Lynn's first, it's the Reverend Lynn Castile Harper. She was the minister for older people at the Riverside Church. She's moved to a church in, I think it's Connecticut now. First of all, I didn't know you could have a minister of older people. I think that's a great idea for older people. That was a great idea. But it was interesting to me that she wrote a book. It's called On Vanishing, and it's been out for a while, but it was her experience with her father. And I sort of understood it. I didn't read it quite the way, but it is pretty much about how hard it was. It was all about the difficulty and the challenges. And I didn't want to say it was negative, but it was with that negative side of dementia. And she acknowledged that the language is changing, the vision is changing, that there are some examples. And she mentioned, even the guy with Alzheimer's gets on stage sort of thing. But but you guys are part of that the larger narrative around cognitive disability, cognitive decline, including diagnosis of Alzheimer's or frontal lobal or whatever, doesn't mean life is over.
Right.
That again, the 5 to 10 years, and even with, it doesn't sound like Nancy, you and me are necessarily have any problem. Now, people tell me that, oh, you don't have it. Well, I'm not going to speak for you. What I say is you should live behind, in the, in the back end. There are things, there are things, and yet that's not the focus. It's what we can do and continue to do.
Those are the workarounds, right? We've learned how to work around the stumbles and the falls and get in front of the camera and go, wow. And you know, minutes ago, we thought you were.
And a care partner, I call love partner because Susan and I are married, but a care partner. There's a lot to be done yet. I know there are two issues. Well, there are issues out there that need to be dealt with. The costs for some people is one of them. So I want to leave the focus on the higher note.
Yes,
Good.
let's do it.
that.
We're all
Yeah, we are.
That the name of the book again?
is Dare to Do
Dementia Differently.
There you go. And let's leave it on that. And you can do it. You're doing it. I'm doing it. There's a growing number of people, and we can help you too for those doing it. And so I want to leave it at that. We will continue to work together, and I really appreciate the time. And I noticed this might be a long one. I encourage people to have patience.
Well, I've learned some. Have you?
Yeah.
This is great. No, thank you.
Thank you, Sam. Thanks so much. Blessings to you and Susan.